Zombieland. Double tap. Well, you certainly can't accuse this movie of being rushed. When it came out back in 2009, a sequel became a matter of when, not if. But after like a million stop and starts and then talk of a TV show, all of a sudden there was nothing. People, myself included, pretty much gave up on the idea until a movie was finally announced and all the cast agreed to come back. Now, I love the first. I own the movie and the poster, and it was one of the early horror movie dates that Becca and I went on that she enjoyed as much as I did. Sadly, this movie couldn't quite live up to the first one's magic. The movie picks up 10 years after the events of the first one, where the four have decided to shack up in the White House. Now, while Columbus is enjoying himself and seems to be thriving in his new home, the others, they're not quite feeling the same way. Some of them are getting freaked out with the normalcy, and the others having a desire to live back on the road. Eventually, Wichita and Little Rock peace out. Then Little Rock double pieces out when she meets a hippie musician named Berkeley. The movie spends a lot of time talking about how much Tallahassee hates Berkeley, and it's pretty funny, but it doesn't have much of a payoff, which is disappointing. That's not to say this movie isn't good, because it is. The action is fun, the actors are having a blast. Even if Woody Harrelson's Tallahassee is a little more over the top than usual, it's fine. And once again, the cameos are great. Luke Wilson and especially Thomas Middleditch are welcome additions to the movie. The scenes with those two being a highlight, and I'll get to more on them later. But this movie runs into the same problem that all movie sequels do when they take what worked from the original and they just try to multiply it by 10. For the first part of the movie, they're just palling around in the White House, which is pretty cool, but instead of trying out some interesting set pieces or a little action in there, it's more of a show and tell where it seems like the actors just hold up something and do a, look what I found. It's cute at first, but that seems all they want to do with that setting, which is a shame. I mean, it's the White House. Another problem with this movie was the stakes. They had to up them somehow, and I didn't mind if they went with the zombies evolving. It's just that I didn't ever buy they were in danger. Even during the final battle, when things were at their darkest, I was just waiting for the Deus Ex Machina to save the day. In the first one, when they were at the amusement park, I was actually worried Tallahassee was going to die. This one, not so much. Those are my complaints in an otherwise very solid movie. My favorite part is the addition of the ditzy blonde Madison. They find her in a mall after she'd been hiding in a freezer for 3 years. She was a nice counterbalance to the group with her airheaded optimism, contrasted with their sarcastic cynicism. Now, my wife Becca didn't really care for her, but I thought she was funny. She's the exact opposite of a person you'd think would survive a zombie apocalypse, and it's funny seeing her bounce off the hardened survivors of the group because they really can't understand how she's lived this long. I mentioned earlier Middleditch, known in this movie as Flagstaff, and Wilson, known as Albuquerque, and it bears repeating, their cameo is a lot of fun. You've seen the trailer, so you knew the two are mirror images of Tallahassee and Columbus. Columbus and Flagstaff immediately hit it off, spending most of their time marveling at how great the other guy is, while Albuquerque and Tallahassee, that's a different story. They immediately hate each other. It brings up the question, how would you feel if you met someone exactly like you? Now, without giving anything away, when the shit hits the fan, Middleditch really goes all out in the role, and it's really fun to see. The climax of the movie takes place at a hippie commune called Babylon, not the ancient city, but the song by David Gray, which I admit got a laugh out of me. Now, before they let anybody in, they have to get rid of their guns, and the commune then melts them down into little pendants. Personally, I liked the amusement park battle from the first one more because there was more to it. But still, when fighting a bunch of super zombies without any guns, it managed to change it up a bit, which wasn't bad, but still, the creativity of the first battle was more entertaining. Summed up, it's a good movie you watch and enjoy, but it doesn't try to do too much to alter the formula. It doesn't take any risks. Still, it's nice seeing them back together again after 10 years because they really do have great chemistry. And because I couldn't find anywhere to seamlessly put this in the review, there's also a recurring gag with a minivan, which is pretty funny. And because it's common knowledge by now, the Bill Murray cameo is wonderful once again. Just make sure you don't stop the movie as soon as the credits start. So if I could sum it up, the action is good, the actors are great, and while not quite as delightful as the first one, it's definitely worth a watch. 7.5 Dr. Chainsaws.